Welcome into the Phoenix Sports Podcast presented by the Dobson Sportsbook app, America's top-rated sportsbook app. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe wherever you get your podcast, and leave us a 5-star review. It's me, it's your girl,
DJ Maggie
Makayla Perkins, and the one and only Shawn DePaz.
Yo, yo.
Shawn, I feel like we just did this.
We have been,
I don't know why,
3 days,
but
4 days?
I feel like
2
we were just here.
TPSPs in a week. Y'all, the viewers, should consider yourselves lucky, thankful, and grateful.
And blessed.
And blessed.
Blessed and highly favored.
Yes.
Hello to everyone in the comments. Jan, Charles, Elizabeth. Charles, hello. It's so good to see you all. Thank you for joining us for a second time this week.
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
I'm not wearing any green.
I know. I'm an idiot.
Forgot that today was St. Patrick's Day.
It's really sad too because it's my grandma's favorite holiday, and I am Irish. I have Irish heritage.
Speaking of grandmas, happy birthday to my grandma. I grew up thinking I was Irish. We talked about this earlier in the week, but I grew up thinking I was Irish because my grandma's birthday was on St. Patrick's Day.
Oh,
I'm
that's
not.
really cute.
There's probably some Irish in there. You know how the Europeans get down, but I'm not Irish, sadly.
Well, I
Sadly.
am. And it was my grandmother's favorite holiday, so I'm very sorry that I forgot to wear green today. I apologize. I will have to make up for it somehow. Do you have any fun plans for St. Patrick's Day?
Watching ASU dance.
There you go.
Particularly, and then depending on how the night goes, might end up at, I don't know if you know this, but Craig is throwing a St. Patrick's Day party.
I've heard.
It's been very low key. He hasn't really talked about it too much.
Yeah, not a lot out there.
But he's doing it tonight. So depending on how this game goes, if I'm in a good mood, I might head over there afterwards.
There you go. Let's
We'll
hope.
see. What do you have plans tonight, don't you? That don't involve hanging out with any of us?
I know. I'm very sorry. Craig is very upset about it, and he won't let me live it down. I am going to a concert tonight with my best friend Carly, so very excited for that. It is not Taylor Swift. I am not a Swiftie.
At least, yeah. I don't know if I would judge you more if you were a Swiftie or I'm judging you more for being a country music fan. But
you judge me constantly.
I do judge
I can
you
never
constantly.
escape your judgment.
Yeah, well, you bring it on yourself.
What concert are you going to?
Whiskey Myers.
Also, Jan Paul Edward Dios asking what my background is. At first, I was like, it's the same as Max. What do you mean? It's a wall. I'm black and white, though, to answer your question. I'm Norwegian and Italian, though, on the white side, so that's fun. St. Patrick was Italian,
Shawn,
I think.
Shawn and chat chime in. Do we want Shawn's legs in the shot, or should I zoom in?
Oh, God.
Well, shin, I can go sideways, get some thigh in there.
I'm
Not the
zooming in.
legs. Well, if you need some plans for St. Patrick's Day, our friends at Four Peaks are having a St. Patty's Day bash down at their Four Peaks 8th Street pub. Of course, you can go there and enjoy some delicious Four Peaks beer. There are a variety to choose from. My favorite, of course. What is happening?
Shane's getting real uncomfortable by my thighs.
You're giving everyone who's watching the show whiplash.
Yeah, for real.
They have great selection of beers. My favorite is the hazy IPA. I'm sure they're going to be doing green beer. I don't know for sure, but I would imagine.
Craig said he stocked up on Four Peaks, and I specifically requested green beer, so there should be.
Well, I'm talking
green
about
beer
the
at
8th Street pub.
Dude,
I can't speak to that.
I'm going sicko mode tonight.
I'm going sicko mode too. I don't know if they have green beer, but honestly, doesn't really matter. It's Four Peaks.
It's Four Peaks. Whether it's green or not, it's still the best beer on the face of the planet. So make sure if you don't have plans, you head down to the 8th Street Pub in Tempe to join them for their St. Patrick's Day party. You can hang out with anyone you find there. It's a great place to make friys.
Go to Four Peaks. Don't deprive yourself
fun.
of fun like Shane has deprived the people of my legs, which the chat clearly
Wanted.
is asking for.
Four Peaks. Hang out with strangers.
You must be 21 years or older, obviously, to enjoy a Four Peaks beer. Also want to give a quick shout out to our friends at Mountain Mike's. They supplied pizza for the office this week. And although I didn't get to partake in any of it, which I'm very upset about because I've never missed a Mountain Mike's week, I'm very jealous of the rest of my coworkers for getting to enjoy that delicious pepperoni pizza, which is my favorite.
So after coming back from Vegas and being absolutely exhausted, there's nothing like free pizza to get just put you right back on the right track.
Yeah, that's the best way to get back on the up and up. If you want some of that delicious Mountain Mike's pizza, make sure to check out any of their locations in Mesa, Chandler, or Tucson. You can head over to mountainmikespizza.com to place your order. Reminder, if you are a new diehard, you'll get a $50 voucher upon signing up. All right, Shawnee, it's madness season, baby.
Yeah, let's get mad. Don't act like you're excited. You shouldn't be happy.
Oh my God, I really don't want to hear this.
No,
we're just
don't
really
act like you didn't bring this on yourself, and also don't pretend surprise that this is happening right now.
We are in the middle of March Madness, the round of 64.
We are in the middle of March Madness, y'all. are on the back end of March
Okay.
Madness.
The play-in tournament is over, as well as the round of 64 is happening right now. Shawn, what has been your favorite game so far in March Madness?
You know the answer to that question. Tell the people what my favorite game is. You
Is
know
it
the
really?
answer to that question. Of course, it's Princeton beating U of A.
Ugh.
What? There's two. It's Princeton beating U of A and ASU embarrassing Nevada in the first four. But I am of the group that doesn't really consider the first four part of the tournament. So my favorite tournament game is the nerds from Princeton, none of which had scholarships to be playing basketball, beating the blue blood that is the University of Arizona Wildcats.
All right, well, let's try to be impartial for the next 30-ish minutes of this podcast.
Fine. Outside of that, Furman beating Virginia.
My favorite game's been Furman, Virginia.
Super anti-Virginia, and I knew they were frauds, so I love being proven right.
I wanted to make sure that I had my bracket pulled up for this because I wanted everyone to see that I picked Furman to win against Virginia. I don't know. Can you see this?
Look at that red spot in the bottom right, though.
Yeah, that's the Arizona. I had them all the way
I
to
had
Elite
Furman
8.
as well. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. I also had SDSU. I did not pick Arizona to lose to Princeton. I didn't think they were that big of frauds.
I had Arizona in the Elite 8.
I had Arizona losing in the round of 32 to Mizzou, so I had somewhat of an idea. Also, Elizabeth saying at least the women's team won today. I'm like Mac with the men's team with a U of A's women's team.
I love Miss Adia Barnes. Adia Barnes is the most badass woman on the face.
I would
of the
die
planet.
for that woman.
She might be a fraud, though. Just saying.
I'm obsessed with Adia, so
She's
I'm
awesome.
definitely cheering for the
I will
U of
always
A
have a
women's
soft spot for the U of A women's team.
Me as well.
Lie.
Me as well. But yes, I also thought Virginia was going to be a fraud. I never have any faith in Virginia ever at any moment in time. So I picked Furman to upset them, and I was right.
I can't believe we're agreeing on something about this
Oh,
tournament.
I know. It's wild. Who would have thought? But yes, Elizabeth, go Wildcats and Adia Barnes, who is the most badass woman on the face of the planet. Also wanted to give a shout out to and a big congratulations to Elizabeth, who most recently got married this week.
Congratulations, Elizabeth.
Congratulations, Elizabeth. We hope you and your spouse are very happy.
Very, very happy.
But yes, so let's talk about it because I don't think anyone, maybe outside of the three of the ASU guys here, thought that the Wildcats were going to be upset by Princeton.
None of us thought that.
No. Don't say that. I said before the game I thought it was gonna. I didn't think it was going to happen, but I thought there was a very good chance. I thought there was a very good chance. So I was not completely out on the possibility of it happening, and it's not only because of U of A. Like I said, Ivy League schools do not mess around in the first round of this tournament. They always show up to play.
Yes. Well, I, for one, did not expect any of that to happen. I know that we talked about it a little bit on Monday's show, but I didn't think that this Wildcats team was as talented as last year's Wildcats team. Objectively. Sure, I genuinely thought last year's team was better. I wasn't expecting a lot from this team, considering that I saw how hard it was for last year's team to make it past the Sweet 16 and they didn't. So I wasn't really thinking that there was going to be this crazy surge from the Wildcats this year because I just didn't think the team was the same. But I also wasn't expecting them to lose in the first round to Princeton.
Yeah, I mean, listen, as much as I thought it was definitely possible, I picked U of A to advance in the first round of this tournament in my bracket. So I didn't think it was going to happen. Like I said, I thought there was a good chance of it happening. But if you asked me before the game who I thought was going to win, put money on it, I would have bet on U of A.
Yeah. So your initial reaction then was shock, surprise?
No. I wasn't surprised because, like I said, I saw this as a possibility.
Yeah.
But I would never, like I said, I never would have put money on Princeton winning this game. But this is exactly kind of what I thought this team was. I mean, when you get to March and it gets late in a close game, especially when the seeds are this lopsided, all the pressure is on U of A. There is not really any pressure on the underdog in that situation, on Princeton. And so there's that. And U of A had let bad teams hang around them all year. They did this with Oregon State, who was a bottom 2 team in the conference.
Yeah.
They let bad teams hang around. And so I said you cannot do that in the tournament. You just might get caught and lose. Yeah. And that's what happened.
That's what Tommy said too in his press conference after the game. He was like, we let them hang around and they came back to bite us.
Yeah.
It definitely, the wheels fell off the wagon for sure there. They did have a 12-point lead, but they kind of squandered that. And then down the stretch, it was really, really bad. They went 0 for 7 from the field. And they kind of just, the wheels fell off the wagon so fast. It was like, oh, shoot. It wasn't one of those upsets like Furman in Virginia where you're the Wildcats, were keeping ahead and clawing their way and they were upset at the last second. Yeah. It was they're going to lose this game type of
I mean,
lost.
Princeton was the better team for the last 5 minutes of
Which is
that
crazy
game.
because Princeton shot 18% from three.
Yeah, I mean,
They
you
were
look at that game.
terrible.
It was not two offenses going crazy
No,
by
well,
any means. It was
the
bad
same
basketball.
shooting difficulties were for the Wildcats too. They went
Yeah.
3 for 16 from long range and 4 for 7 from the free throw line.
If you
so.
took logos off of the jerseys and numbers off the broadcast, you would think you're watching a YMCA game. Like that was
You would think you were watching a
Objective-
regular season Ivy League game.
that was objectively a bad basketball.
It was
game.
really bad basketball.
Game, for sure.
And I mean, obviously there's a lot of really good players on U of A, but I think even early in the year, Tommy Lloyd had a quote early on the season where he was like, I just didn't feel like these guys were like all a cohesive unit.
Yeah.
And it didn't really ever feel like they really ever got to that point. I mean, Kirk Reese just was not good this year, specifically shooting.
So bad, and he did not show up
especially
in
in
that
big
game.
moments. He started 0 for 6 or something like that. It just was not a great shooting performance from him naturally. Which also you have to ask the question, why is he on the court, especially late in the game when you have a guy like Kylan Boswell, who I think is going to be a star, a foundational corner piece of the Conference of Champions, if you will. But so that's a question to ask of Tommy Lloyd.
Yeah.
But Azuolas Tubelis, I don't like his drive. I think he kind of checks out at times. He's kind of soft.
He did contribute 22 points in the game, but he also had 6 turnovers.
Yes,
and
exactly.
the ball handling was horrendous. It was such a sloppy game. The Wildcats turned it over 13 times, and Princeton turned it over 11. So it was just
bad basketball the whole way. And I think when you get into games like that, it's going to favor the underdog.
Yeah.
Because they
want it more.
want a little bit more.
Yeah, they
and
have more.
I honestly think that's what it came down to. Like Princeton just wanted it more at the end.
Yeah.
And then they got it. There's not much more to it than that.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I do think Princeton wanted it more, and Arizona just didn't have like that spark to keep them going, and it just was not a pretty game. You kind of mentioned Azuolas Tubelis. He did have 22 points, but he did have a lot of turnovers as well. I think out of all of the players on the roster, I think Azuolas is probably the one who has a chance of making it to the NBA.
Yeah.
And so people, I mean, even in the press conference, people were asking like, what are your plans? Like, which is a stupid question because the kids almost never answer that question. They're always like, I need to take time to think about it. I don't know what my future holds, blah, blah, blah. But do you think this is the last time that we see Zoo?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I looked at a lot of mock drafts during the Pac-12 tournament. And a lot of them had him going late second round. One of them had him getting drafted by the Suns in the second round, actually.
Oh.
But I don't know if his stock is going to be any higher than it is now. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, honorary All-American, I believe. Probably will finish second in Pac-12 Player of the Year voting.
MVP of the Pac-12 tournament.
Yep, MVP of the Pac-12 tournament.
He did finish second.
Oh, he did finish second?
Yeah,
okay.
won it.
Yeah. So,
This
I
is
mean,
like the peak for Zoo.
I don't know if his stock is going to get much higher, especially after, I just don't know what his drive is going to be to keep trying to win at this level.
Yeah.
To be quite honest, because you
I
didn't
wonder if
really
there's
see it yesterday.
Something in the water in Tucson that makes big men just not really care about basketball for the full 40 minutes of the game.
Yeah.
DeAndre.
Oh my God. Shade.
Tough.
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 Yeah, I agree. I think this is the last time we see Zoo in a Wildcats uniform. I think you kind of laid it out perfectly. Like he's reached the pinnacle of his career for the Wildcats, and like there's really not much left to accomplish. And we're going to talk about this in a second, but I just don't see a way for him to succeed more than he has, I guess, for the Wildcats. So
I mean, realistically, he could come back and he could be National Player of the Year, actually win Pac-12 Player of the Year, win his 3rd straight Pac-12 championship. But I guess the question ultimately is how much is that a motive? Because if you've accomplished a lot of, I mean, you already won 2 Pac-12 championships, you've been close to the Conference Player of the Year. I think the question has to be, do you really think that you have anything to gain, both draft stock or making a deep run in the tournament? And I don't know that he does. And so, yeah, I think for him, going to the draft is probably the right choice.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think Zoo should go for the draft. I don't know. And someone in the comments saying Tommy, coach, will eat this all off season. We're going to talk about Tommy in a second. But I don't see, unless Tommy pulls off some miracle recruiting and can get just like this team together. I just don't see them going for it all next year. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough because, I mean, they weren't able to do it with Koloko and Ben Mathurin, who were 2 of the best players in the country.
And Dalen Terry.
And now they don't have any of that. Like I said, I am a big fan of Kylan Boswell. I think he's going to be a very good player, but outside of that, like I don't like Pelle Larson. I don't like Kirk Risa. Umar Bala has a lot of room to grow. I don't think Visar is going to be that guy unless you ask, what's his name? Why am I blanking on his name?
Who are you trying
Foundational corner piece of the conference champions.
Oh, Bill Walton.
Bill Walton. I kept wanting to say Bill Russell, and I was like, I know that second part's not right. Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, obviously Tommy is pretty good at his job, especially when it comes to recruiting European kids.
Yes.
But is that going to be enough?
Gonzaga.
I don't know.
They have a non-European guy, 4-star, basically a 5-star coming in next year, and KJ Lewis, who's a dog.
Yep.
So also the last thing I'll say about U of A is, my God, their fans are the worst, not just to us, but to themselves. They started turning on players yesterday, which I think is disgusting.
Yeah.
They're collegiate athletes. But calling for Tommy Lloyd's head, the dude has lost 11 games in 2 years.
Well, we were just about to talk about that. You read our minds.
The first 2 years.
We obviously can't talk about the Wildcats without talking about Tommy Lloyd. I was shocked by the reaction yesterday while I was perusing the internet following the loss of the game. People were saying they wanted Shawn Miller back. You guys, Tommy Lloyd has been the head coach of the Arizona Wildcats for 2 seasons and has won 2 conference championships, which I guess you can say does or does not matter in the grand scheme of things. But regardless, 2 conference championships, and has taken his team to the NCAA tournament also twice in those 2 years he's been head coach. Obviously, last year they went to Sweet 16, so it was a little bit more successful. But I'm not trying to like make this something that it's not. Like, genuinely, I was on Wildcats Twitter and people were like screaming that they wanted Shawn Miller back, that Tommy Lloyd is not the guy. And I'm like, am I living in an alternate universe? Like, in what world is Tommy Lloyd not the guy for this team?
Listen, there's 2 ways you can look at this, because you look at that first year with Tommy Lloyd, you look at Koloko and Ben Matherin. Those are guys that Miller had gotten there.
Yeah.
But on the flip side of that, they were not half of the players they were under Tommy Lloyd under Shawn Miller. So, I mean, that's obviously ridiculous. I mean, outside of the fact that Shawn Miller was just maybe not the best of people, Tommy Lloyd is, like I said, the winningest head coach in college basketball history in their first 2 years.
Yep.
How are you just going to give up on that? I mean, I understand it's tough. And I guess I can't really relate to this considering the teams that I root for, but it's tough when you consistently have really, really high expectations and you fall flat of them almost every single time. Especially when you have an image of yourself as being one of the best programs in the country. I can understand that frustration, but to give up after 2 years is ridiculous.
Yeah, crazy.
I understand not wanting to go the other way, but yeah, he's done so much in his first 2 years compared to, I think, what you could have reasonably expected him to do, right? Like, the man's won 2 conference championships.
Yeah.
And he did the second one with a significantly worse team than he did the first one. Like, a significantly worse team, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
And he did it over what was, I think, a better UCLA team. Obviously, they had injury problems at the point, but still, like, he's been so successful. I don't think I think if you're calling for his head, you're not a real fan.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know the players feel the same way we do, because I asked them at the Pac-12 tournament, like, what it was like to play for a coach like Tommy. And they, of course, like, well, they were talking to us, but like, they had like above and beyond things to say about him as a coach, like outside of just the general, like, he's a player's coach, we love it. Like, they really went in on how much they do enjoy playing for Tommy Lloyd. And I know that's kind of like a status quo, what you would expect from players when your coach is like sitting right next to you. But like, I've been in countless press conferences where like the players are just, you know, yeah, it's great, but like, they really did care and they showed that they cared, and they said so many great things about Tommy. So I just don't think it's fair to call for Tommy's head in this situation.
It's
like,
absolutely not.
I don't know what else he could have done better. Like, people are saying like he's not like the right motivator, that he's not harsh enough, that he's not a commander enough. But like, I see what happens when you have a coach like that, and I don't think it looks fun either. Like, Cronin for UCLA
that's
is
what
like
I was just about to bring up. It's a double-edged sword for sure, because there is a question about motivation or having too long of a leash. I think obviously Bobby has a very different demeanor than Tommy, but I think it's similar in the sense that we consider him somewhat of a player's coach and having a lot of trust in his guys. Yeah. And sometimes, especially on an ASU team that's less talented than U of A, that can go a little too far, and they might start taking bad shots, blah, 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 blah. But on the other hand, like, and I can only speak for me personally. Obviously, there's guys who get motivated by that harsher treatment, but like, this is something that the Sun Devil guys have talked a lot, especially sitting behind the UCLA bench at the Pac-12 tournament. Like, I am not a fan of Mick Cronin's coaching style or what I believe is Shawn Miller. Like, I'm not a fan of guys that seem to demean their players in a lot of ways. And obviously, like Mick Cronin, he had the Pac-12 Player of the Year, so you could only be so negative about his coaching style.
Yeah.
But like personally, it's not my thing. So maybe it's a bad thing that he's as nice as he is, but guys are going to enjoy playing for him. And like you said, you saw that with this U of A team.
Yeah, for sure. I think Tommy Lloyd deserves all the flowers, even following that loss. So,
and he's a leader of, like, I think there's something to be said for like because you're taking children and turning them into men.
Yeah,
you're with
totally.
them more than anybody else. Like, I think there's something to be said for a good person who turns these young kids into good men.
But that's why I don't bag on anybody that's been in a program for so long, is they wouldn't keep them around if they were ruining kids' lives. Mick Cronin is not ruining kids' lives.
No, I don't think he's ruining kids' lives.
And I think it works. The one thing I will say about Tommy Lloyd that I didn't like yesterday, "This is a setback," was a quote that he said in his press conference. Brother, this is not a setback. The season is over.
Yeah.
I don't know if he meant that in the context of like the future of the program, because I definitely think it might be a little bit of a setback in the sense that it kind of seems like this is U of A's MO. They get their hopes up and then they don't really do anything. But so, I mean, I can understand that being discouraging to some kids, but the reality is if you're coming out west to play basketball, I still don't think there's a better program than U of A. That's just the reality of it. Like, I understand Gonzaga, but I would rather play in a real conference. I understand UCLA, but they also haven't done anything in years.
Gonzaga just makes me laugh.
It's not that I hate Gonzaga, but they don't play in a real conference. They have one other legitimate team. They have one other team in the tournament.
More Final Fours than U of A in the past 20 years.
That is true. That is true. But like I think U of A is the best program for kids out west. Ultimately, but if you keep getting bounced early in the tournament, it's only going to mean so much. So
that is very true.
The worst thing for U of A is if UCLA goes on a big run in this tournament, and then it might be a little bit of a setback.
Yeah, that's going to hurt a little bit. But
then again, they're going
to a different conference, so it doesn't really matter that much. Well, very sorry, U of A fans, that you had to watch your team get upset by an Ivy League school. That is always a bummer.
I'm not.
Hey, let's back the pack, okay, guys?
Absolutely
U of A
not.
fans don't deserve that.
Absolutely not. We hear so much shit, and then when we come at them, they're like, "Oh, they better. Your program isn't anything." I'm like, "Okay, sure, but your program is supposed to be something because you tell us that every gosh darn day when we're literally talking about softball, out of conference softball, where we haven't played you guys in fucking 3 months, and you're still bringing shit up."
This is the reaction I was hoping for when I said back the pack. All right.
I would if they would.
Before we talk about the Sun Devils, let's talk about DraftKings, because you can bet on the March Madness tourney happening right now on the DraftKings Sportsbook app. There are some fun games happening today, including the Arizona State Sun Devils taking on TCU later this evening.
When does U of A play?
What?
When does U of A play?
Oh, my God. Shawn, what team do you have bets on today?
Well, the ASU crew all bet on USC earlier today, and it did not go well. So I think I'm going to have to bet on TCU just to, balance things out. Get US or ASU the W. What other games do we have going on today? I mean, obviously Purdue is going to. Do
you have any money on St. Mary's TCU?
I have money on Iowa State, and that's not going very well. They're
down. No, it's
what
not.
Is it, 18-2?
Oh no, not to Pittsburgh.
I know.
Dog.
I know.
I have Iowa State losing to Xavier.
I have Pittsburgh
Shawn
winning
Miller's
that game.
Xavier in the next round anyways. I have Drake. Yeah, Drake. Big on Drake. I'm anti-Miami, anti-ACC basketball.
Break it on your knee.
Down you. What?
Break it on your knee.
Oh, no. That's so much work. You don't want to see my legs.
Yeah, that's true.
So I'm big on Drake. Big upset over Miami. 12-5 game.
I just love March Madness so much. Wins. It's honestly one of my favorite times of the year. Like watching games that, like the what am I trying to say? The Virginia upset yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
it is magic.
It into my veins.
I was thinking about this on my drive home last night. Like I was by my home and I'm like, it really is nothing like March. Like it is pure, like anything can happen. It's pure chaos. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. It's so fun to watch. It's even more fun if you have money on the line.
Mm-hmm.
It gets your heart rate really going.
It does.
And if you want to put some money on the games, you can by downloading the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code PHNX. New customers can bet just $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Only at the DraftKings Sportsbook with promo code PHNX. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. But hey, listen, if you maybe don't want to put your money on basketball and instead want to spend it on some new golf gear for the range.
Like if you're a U of A fan, you have a lot of free time. Spend it golfing.
I'm sorry to the Wildcats fans in the comments.
No.
I'm being impartial, like a good host should be. You have to listen to him.
You throwing up the claw in the last
Yeah.
show is not you being impartial. That's you taking a side.
Again,
It was incendiary. It served a purpose.
Again, we don't do this.
Yeah.
But when
Like
we
that-
have the opportunity, we do it.
The U of A fans
started
brought this on themselves. We were so kind and quiet for most of the year because we know our place. But currently, our place is in the tournament. Yours is at home. So I'm gonna talk my shit.
Well, anyways, if
Or
you
yours
want to
can be on
spend
the
some
golf
money
course
on new golf gear
with some
instead of
beverage.
betting money on basketball, which both are equally
Volcano
valid.
Los Dos.
Yeah, do both, honestly. You can do so by heading over to badbirdiegolf.com. They have the best, most stylish, most comfortable golf gear in the game. I'm not even kidding
That's a
you
fact.
guys. It is beautiful. It's men's polos, women's polos. They've got sweatshirts, sweatpants, zip-ups, polos, hoodies, whatever you want.
Golf
They've got
gloves.
it. They just dropped a bunch of new gear as well, which, I mean, honestly, what else could you ask for? New Bad Birdie is always the best. Just head on over to badbirdiegolf.com. Use promo code PHNX Sports _15 for 15% off your entire order at badbirdiegolf.com.
If you're like me, you just because if you're bad at golf, you at least gotta look good.
Look good,
at it.
yeah.
Get the
Look-
whole fit. Because when you if you post a picture of you on the golf course and you're the only one that looks like a golfer, you don't gotta post your score. People are just gonna think you're good at golf.
There you
So-
go. Fool them all.
Drip down,
Who's going to know?
flick up, and be bad at golf like me.
All right, let's talk about the Arizona State Sun Devils because they mollywopped Nevada in the play-in tournament. Holy shit, it really wasn't much of a game. The Sun Devils won 98-73. It was very much a Des Cambridge and Warren Washington revenge game. I mean, we could go through the stats, but all the stats
What's
like
it
were
matter?
so good. Like,
Yeah, I literally like the stats.
everyone looked good. Everyone played good.
It was the most dominant basketball game. I mean, and you don't have to take this from my word. Doug Tamaro, who watches every game and has been doing this for years, said this is probably the best.
They
game
shot
ASU has ever played.
64% from the floor.
Like it was
64%.
from the first whistle. Nevada made the first basket. They had a 3-point lead, and they never had a lead for the rest of the game. ASU dominated. Tape to tape.
Dominated.
It was like every facet of the game. Everyone, the bench played well. Jeremiah Neal went crazy off the bench back in his home state.
DJ Horn
Like,
had 20
DJ,
points.
and obviously, you mentioned Dez and Warren. Dev himself had over 15 points, or had 15 points. I don't remember if it was exactly 15.
No, he had like
DJ finished with the
19.
highest
Like
point
19,
total
okay.
in a first 4 game ever.
Yeah, it was an absolute dominance both on an individual and team level. It was a masterclass coaching wise from Bobby. And the reality is like it's not like Nevada came out here and just shit the bed the whole time. Like they started the game hitting like 5 threes. Their first like 18 points I think were from behind the arc. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
So they didn't play like downright terrible basketball. It was just ASU playing some of the best basketball this program has ever seen in a single game.
Yeah, their first half output was a season high for ASU. Like they averaged 41% shooting from the floor this season, and they shot 64% from the floor in that game. So like just total dominance. It was really cool to see, especially because I was worried. Don't jump down my throat. Obviously, playing that many games in the Pac-12 tournament and then traveling here for the selection show and then traveling to Dayton is a lot. So I was a little worried that they were going to be a little tired and they were going to come out flat.
Understandable.
But they came out and shut me up real fast
Yeah.
because they just took it to them and they did not stop, like foot on the gas the whole time.
I understand that concern, but this is the kind of team that I think thrives off of they're a really deep team, so they have the legs to withstand playing a lot like this.
Yeah.
And I mean, Nevada was going through the same thing.
Yeah.
If not less time off. I don't remember exactly how far they got in their tournament, but less time off.
TCU got or Nevada.
Yeah.
Nevada got 1 extra day of rest.
Oh, they got one extra. Okay. But I mean, still, they were going through a similar thing, obviously coming from the same part of the country, more or less.
Yeah.
Flying out to Dayton. But ASU is the kind of team that I think thrives off of playing a lot. In fact, they tend to struggle when they come off of big breaks. So I like it, and I think the team likes it. Like they like being in the trenches and staying kind of locked in and engaged with the game. And I think it ultimately, benefited them.
Yeah,
Can I
absolutely.
Can I burst in for something?
Go ahead.
There's only 3 spots left on the takeover.
Damn.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
So go get your tickets right now.
Get your tickets
Okay.
right
Do we
now.
have the graphic by chance?
I'll find it.
I can stall while you find it. For those of you who don't know, we are going to do a takeover yet again. Last night we had one and it was so much fun. We watched the Suns beat the Magic, and it was honestly an electric factory. We got to pregame together at the Desmond, and then we walked over to the arena together to watch the game. And we are doing it again. We are doing another takeover. It's going to be April 6th, and it's the game versus the Nuggies, which we all know is going to be insane, considering that we all believe the Nuggets are frauds, and KD could potentially be back by then. So that's another huge thing. Not to mention the tickets are lower level tickets. You also get food and drink included with your ticket at the Desmond, and you will also get a Valley Sicko t-shirt with this ticket. I mean, there's really no reason not to get a ticket to this game. Like, you get the chance of seeing KD play against the fraudulent Denver Nuggets, who somehow clinched the fucking first seed in the Western Conference.
Frauds.
Annoying.
Frauds. They are the U of A of the West.
So go grab your ticket while you can. The Diehard ticket, it's a discount for Diehards. It's in the Discord. So go get your discounted tickets if you're a Diehard. If not, the other tickets are available by using the link on our Twitter at PHNX_sports or at PHNX_Suns.
Also, I'll give you a hack. Like, the difference between the Diehard price and the regular price is like $40.
Yeah.
If you become a Diehard, you not only save the $40 on that, you also get like a $50 free voucher for free pizza from Mountain Mike's, and you get another free t-shirt. So ultimately, you're saving money, I think, if you become a Diehard and sign up. So just become a Diehard.
You're 100% saving money.
It makes economic sense to become a Diehard.
It's basically free money.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun. Any other thoughts on the ASU Nevada game before we move on?
They kicked their ass. It was an absolute ass kicking. It's what they needed to do. I think it exercised a lot of demons for Bobby Hurley, especially considering the narrative, I guess, that there was coming from some people leading into this game that he should be fired regardless of what happened. I'm not going to name.
Can we talk about that?
Yeah, we can talk about that if you want to.
That shit was nuts.
It was. I mean, that's what
bizarre.
That's what that person does.
I don't think we should.
I'm not gonna. Yeah,
I don't think we should. I think it's what he wants.
Yeah, it's what that person does, and obviously, I mean, he was obviously wrong, but it was also the first time I wrote an article from them in a while. So he did get it. He did what he wanted to do. But yeah, I mean, I do think it was huge for Bobby Hurley. That was the big question. Could he get past the? It's one thing to make the tournament. Can you get past those playing games? Because last time he was there, he didn't. And he did this time. And I think I do think it meant a lot for Bobby and the program to kind of pass that hurdle. And like I keep saying, somebody's got to be the Cinderella. Why not us?
Why not us? Well, the ASU Sun Devils are taking on the TCU Horned Frogs later this evening. And if you're nervous about the game, I recommend popping an OGs before it tips off, because that is the only way to keep your nerves in check while you watch the Devils dance with the Frogs. I can't recommend the Happy Balance strawberries and cream gummies enough. They are a CBD and a THC gummy with a 1-to-1 ratio, but they also have great indica, great sativa gummies with a variety of flavors. The orange creamsicle is honestly elite. And I just think of no better thing to do than to take an OGs and watch basketball.
And it does sound like a vibe. Or you can celebrate afterwards with OGs.
Yeah.
OGs makes you feel like the Hypnotoad.
Yeah, no toad. True.
They're obviously the best gummies in Arizona because they are scratch made right here in the state. And like I said, their strawberries and cream Happy Balance gummies are live and on the shelves. You can find them at your local dispensary or by checking out ogsbrands.com. You must be 21 years or older to enjoy. All right, rounding out the show, we've got the TCU matchup with ASU. If you're a fan of defenses, this is a game for you, baby. They both have a top 30 defense, obviously with TCU being 20th and Arizona State being 29th. So I'm honestly really excited for this game. I am a little bit nervous. Obviously, still have the same nerves as I did before with the Nevada game because of the rest factor.
I didn't know you cared about this thing like that.
TCU obviously has not had to play a play-in game, obviously. So they are well rested, and I'm just a little bit nervous for the Devils, but I'm definitely not counting them out. What are your thoughts heading into this matchup, Shawn?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, there's pretty big loss for TCU. They lost their big man, Lampkin, right before the Big 12 tournament, so he hasn't been with the team, and that's a big loss when you're coming up against a team that has a 7-footer who can play pretty good basketball from time to time. So I'm looking for that matchup specifically to see what ASU does in the paint, because there's been games where they have done really well in the paint recently. They can do that. I think it's good. I mean, if they do half of what they did against Nevada, they're winning the game. I don't think it matters what team they're playing. If you're shooting like that, you're going to win a basketball game every single time. I don't expect that performance. I think that was a once-in-a-lifetime performance for any team. especially this team, a team that does not do that, does not play well, period, offensively a lot of times, let alone that well. So this is going to be a defensive battle. I think I predicted like a 65-60 win, somewhere around there, like a low to mid 60s. I think is probably what we're going to be looking at for the score here. It is definitely going to be a little grimy. But similar to that U of A Princeton game, I think when you get grimy, you get in a close game late. Ultimately, it's going to come down to the pressure is going to be on the higher seed. The pressure is going to be on TCU, and it's going to come down to the team that wants it more. And I've said it all year. No one wants anything more than Duke Brennan wants it, and I think that stands for this whole team. Like, this team clearly wants to win. Yeah. Bobby wants to win. And I think they're having a lot of fun right now. If this is a close, grimy game late, I side with ASU.
DraftKings has the total at 142.
Wow, so. Why are you reading my mind? I was literally just about to ask.
Under.
What's the spread?
5 last I saw.
ASU's dogs.
Yeah, ASU's dog. Here's something fun. How many teams are there in college basketball?
160 something. 208.
Bro, 350 Division I basketball teams.
Damn.
Yeah.
I'm thinking.
What number is ASU ranked 3-point or TCU ranked in 3-point field goal percentage?
How many teams you say there were?
350.
I'll go 281.
It has to be low. Yeah, like 200.
338.
Oh my.
They are worse than ASU. So this is all about 3-point variance this game tonight. Whichever team can hit the 3-point ball tonight is going to win.
Live by the three,
I mean, we
die
saw
by
against
the
Nevada that ASU is definitely susceptible to the 3-point ball. But we also saw against against Nevada that ASU just shows up sometimes and shoots the lights out. If they do that against this TCU team somehow, oh boy, it might get ugly for the Horned Frogs.
Daniel, we are doing another watch along.
Yes, we are.
Yay! Tune into our YouTube channel and watch the Sun Devil guys watch this game too, and watch with them. You know, just
with
everyone's watching the game.
With a special guest, ASU tight end Jalen Conyers will be joining us for that and the
future NFL tight end.
Future NFL tight end.
You'll love to see it. Yeah, live by the 3, die by the 3. So I honestly am pulling for the Devils, obviously, but I don't think that this is like a David and Goliath situation. Like, I think this is is going to be a good basketball game. Like,
I mean, like I've said, ASU is better than an 11 seed. They or at the very least, they should not have had to play in a play-in game. I think they're better than NC State, who managed to somehow get straight to an 11 seed without a play-in game, despite only having one quad win and them playing in a fraudulent ass ACC conference or AC conference. I would guess it would be.
Yeah.
But
I think if the Devils come out and punch TCU in the mouth to start and just don't give them a reason to, pull away or, just keep the game close, I think TCU is going to be shocked. I don't think TCU is expecting it. So I think,
like I said, if ASU shoots well, if we come out and Dez hits like a big 3 early, or specifically if DJ hits a big 3 early and he starts talking his shit like he was early on in that Nevada game, you might as well get on the plane right back to Dallas.
Warm up the buzz, baby.
Right back to Dallas. We're fucking here. If Micah Bruno starts talking his shit from the bench, it's over. So you might, it could get really ugly for TCU, but this is an ASU team that lost by 40 to San Francisco. Oh, well, it is an ASU team that lost by San Francisco to 40, but I think this is a different team now than it was at that point. So
definitely.
But ASU does not always play well offensively, so it could get ugly for them. But I feel good about this team, man. I keep saying it. Why not us? Someone's got to be the Cinderella.
Us? Yes. Jose is saying TCU leaves the lanes open. I think ASU can take advantage. Very fair point. Daniel giving us the score prediction, saying ASU wins 64-63.
God, my heart can't take that.
Do you want to give us a score prediction?
Yeah, like I said, I think it'll be around that 65. I think I said 67-74. Or 67-62, I think was ultimately my prediction on the show yesterday. So I'll stick with around there. I think it was going to be about like a 4 or 5 point dub in the 60s for ASU.
Okay, fair. I'm going to go in the same range. I'm going to say ASU 68, TCU 66.
Okay. I think a unanimous decision is that we are going to be in for one hell of a game. I don't think we're going to get a lopsided game today.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be electric either way. I'm really excited to watch it. Go Devs, even though I've been banned from saying that.
I want to respond to Aaron. He said, AZ fan here. Tabellis is not an NBA prospect, not athletic enough. Good college player, won't translate. We talked about him going to the draft because I think that's the right decision for him, but I 100% agree that he is. I don't think he is going to sniff actual time playing in the NBA ever in his life. He does not. He's not a good enough outside shooter, and I don't think he has a high enough motor to be a good NBA player.
Yeah.
So I 100% agree
A summer
with you.
leaguer?
Yeah, I mean, he'll get drafted, be summer league, probably spend some time in the G League. But especially being European, he might just end up going back to play in Europe at some point.
Yeah.
Which I think is somewhere he might actually be able to have a decent
absolutely.
career.
I think out of anyone on the roster that the Wildcats currently have, he's the only one though that should or will declare for the draft
This year.
Yeah,
This
this
year.
year.
This year.
I think Ballo can actually make
Yeah,
some
And
noise.
I think
I agree. I even asked, I was like, do you think Ball was ready before the show? But I don't think he is.
and I
think
mean,
Ball already said
eventually
yeah.
he's small, but I keep saying it. Kylan Boswell is a basketball player. He's a basketeer, if you will.
Basketeer.
Like
You
Dev
should
Cambridge
trademark
Jr.
that.
No. It's not an inside joke, I guess. But if you type in Dev Cambridge on or Devin Cambridge on Google, sometimes it'll pop up and say that his profession is basketeer,
That's
not
hilarious.
basketball player.
Love that.
And Kylan Boswell is a basketeer.
Yes.
So he's going to be he's a foundational corner piece of the conference champions, like I said.
You love to see it. Well, go Devs. Hopefully they can pull it out against TCU. I'm so proud of us for having a show about U of A and ASU and no one killing each other in the comments. You guys are the absolute best.
Well, U of
Thanks
A
for
fans,
keeping it simple.
they can't do anything. They're probably not even alive right
They're
now.
pretty quiet. They're probably
They're hibernating.
not like they have to. Not like they have to
No,
pay
we had
attention.
U of A fans. Elizabeth in the comments.
That's true, but Elizabeth's loyal. She's a diehard.
Elizabeth's a diehard. She's also enjoying her post-nuptial bliss. So we love to see it. All right. Anything else about ASU? Jonathan.
Now, about ASU, no. It's a great day to be a Devil. Why not? Like literally, why not us?
Oh, actually, I do
playing
have
with
one more
house money.
question for you.
Oh, what's that?
Don't kill me for asking this, and I'm going to knock on wood immediately. If the Devs lose this game, how do you classify this season?
A success. Making the tournament was always the question for me.
Okay.
It's a 23-win team.
Yeah, it's a 23-win team, and I think everyone's perspective. If they had spaced out their losses throughout the year and didn't have that 4-game losing streak, and also didn't lose to Texas Southern. So if you got rid of that what was a really bad loss, and then spaced out their losses, I don't think it's a question that this is a tournament team. I don't think we're ever really nervous on Selection Sunday. And I don't think anyone's even. It's a fair question to ask, but I don't think anyone's asking that question if that happened. It was a success that they made the tournament. Honestly, it was a success that they beat U of A after having the number of wins they did to beat U of A the way they did. Everything else after that, I think, was icing on the cake, like Aaron said. And the fact that they not only made the tournament, but won a game in the tournament, technically speaking, you're playing with house money. This is a massive success.
Yeah.
Plus, next year, you get 2 really good 4-stars coming in.
Yeah. So,
and even if they get bounced, there's no questions about Bobby Hurley's future with his team.
No, there will be forever, but there shouldn't be.
Yeah.
There
was a whole article about it before.
Yeah, but I don't think there ever should have been before.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
but
yeah. Well, For me, the question was always, can you make the tournament? And they did. And also, even if they hadn't won,
is making the tournament really enough? Like
this year, it was. I think that was the bar this year.
Okay.
Was just to make the tournament, and or maybe it was to win a tournament game. I think that would be fair, but they did that. So whatever I think any reasonable bar you had for this year, I think they surpassed it. They beat U of A and Makayla. They made the tournament. They won a tournament game. They made it past the first day of the Pac-12 tournament. They did everything that Bobby Doubters said that he couldn't do.
But this has to be the last year of just make the tournament, right? Like we have to get further than this next year.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. But also, I don't think
there's so much turnover in college basketball. It's hard to get consistency.
Yeah.
Right. And I know that. But just how many times can we have
you're
we
totally,
made it to the tournament?
I agree. I think
fair.
any self-respecting basketball program, your goal every year is to make the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, of course. I mean, there's no other thing to strive for than making the tournament. But I'm just saying, at what point do we stop being satisfied with just making the tournament and then getting bounced in the first round?
You got to ask U of A that question, too.
Yeah, no, that's totally fair. But they also made it to Sweet 16 last year.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, I mean, obviously they're a better program than ASU, but I think you also have to look at it in the context of what is this roster actually supposed to achieve? Because ASU, ASU has, I think, outperformed themselves. U of A underperformed. Well, you could look at it 2 ways. I think they underperformed based on their expectations, but overperformed based on the talent that was on the roster.
Yeah.
But I'm not, if this is what they accomplish next year, I'm not going to be like, oh, that's a failure because they didn't do more than last year. I'm fine with them doing this, not every year, because eventually if you do this for 4 straight years, then the bar is going to raise. But next year specifically, I'm not looking for them. I don't think it's going to be a failure if they make the tournament and only if they are a first 4 team and win that game and then lose in the first round. I'm not going to consider that a failure next year. The year after that, maybe.
Yeah. Brent in the comments saying something I actually agree with. Winning a playing game is not winning a tournament game. 64 legit teams. If ASU wins today, that's a tourney win. I actually agree.
Yeah. I mean, I agree in general that I don't really consider the first 4 part of the tournament. But as I've discussed with a number of people, it says March Madness on the court. It counts as a tournament win. And also, like I have said consistently, this team is better than a playing game. They deserve to have a bye straight into the round of 64. So either way, they made it here. So they are an NCAA tournament team, regardless of which way you look at it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, go Devs, baby. Let's get this
Go
bread.
To end the show.
It's time to end the show.
Well, before we do
More
that,
importantly,
though, Shawn is going to bless us
it's time
with an ad read.
for a Manscaped read.
I'm going to plug my ears and turn away. A small child just came into this room. It might be best if she leaves.
I am doing a Manscaped read with Derek's daughter in my peripheral.
I'm not ready for this. Okay, go.
I don't know if you knew this, but spring has sprung.
It has.
And our friends at Manscaped, there's some stuff here. I was going to read it. I'm not going to.
Oh, God.
I'm doing this off dome.
Here we go.
One thing that's always a big deal in the NCAA tournament is the balls, right? Because they have these Wilson balls that a lot of people have not been using. And like at Syracuse, for example, they use Nike. ASU, they use Adidas. And for players, the texture of the balls is really important. You can't throw me off like that. They want.
This is so awkward for me to listen to.
They want consistency in the texture of their balls. And no one is better at delivering consistency when it comes to the texture of your balls than Manscaped. And like I said, spring has sprung, and our friends at Manscaped have the best tools for some spring cleaning, whether it's below the belt or above the neck. They already helped tidy up all the nooks and crannies of your basement, but this year, Manscaped can help you get perfect presentation on that beautiful face of yours with the new Beard Hedger Pro Kit. Make sure to look your best this spring by using code PHNXBETS. Ooh, shout out PHNX Bets every day, Monday through Friday at noon. Listen, I asked and Max said yes. So PHNX Bets to get 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com. I've been trying to grow the facial hair, but for a while I was really hesitant because I didn't really have the right tools to trim it, keep it clean. Shout out Manscaped now. I got it. I can rock with the facial hair. And you should too. Manscaped, it's the best. They got different balms for your facial hair and the tools to keep it nice and trim. And then they also, like I said, they got everything to make sure you have consistency when it comes to the texture of your balls. So check them out. Manscaped.com.
That actually wasn't as horrible as I thought it was going to be.
Listen,
did you say you can save 20% off and free shipping?
I did say all that.
Okay. We love that. Get your 20% off now over at Manscaped.
Yeah.
That wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Thank you for sparing me from that.
I don't know how much worse do you think I was talking about the texture of someone's balls. How much worse could it get?
Have you heard Mr. Peter?
Yeah, fair
Mr.
enough.
Petey?
Yeah,
and
fair
his
enough.
Roman ad reads?
Yeah,
Are you kidding
fair
me?
enough. And his Manscaped ad reads.
And his Manscaped ad reads are otherworldly. So I know how bad it can get.
Yeah,
and
that's
I
fair.
think you spared me from the awkwardness of having to listen to anything worse.
I didn't spare you. I spared Derek's daughter.
Yeah, it was all for her. Oh my God. All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode of the Phoenix Sports Podcast. You are all the absolute best. Roaring for Connor, Jan, Low Tone Capone, Elizabeth, everyone else in the comments, Charles, Chris. I can't see everyone else, but you are all the absolute best. Thank you so much for tuning in. Brent, Aaron, Daniel, all of our homies. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will see you next Friday at 12:30, but don't forget to get your tickets. Oh my God. Tickets to the takeover before they're gone. There's only 3 of them left. So run, don't walk, get your tickets, and also get your tickets for our tea party coming up. The tea party will be here before you know it, and you don't want to miss out on that very fun event either. I'm very concerned about what's about to happen.
They're going to be very upset that you're not a bubble. But,
okay.
Take that claw.
All right.
Put it upside down.
Okay. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Like, subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Let's go, Devs. See you guys next Friday at 12:30.